one bears heavily the stamp of possibly Status Quo, possibly ZZ Top, but that one was written with a band called Translove Airways in the in 1999 actually. It was the last edition of Translove Airways, which lasted for about 9 years.
Yeah.
And the original Translove Airways was kind of like the Royal Trucks, a couple, and after a while they broke up, and towards the about 97 it wound up that my girlfriend and I became the rhythm section, which was kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
But my pal Steve, who was always the kind of main songwriter, came out with this whole other raft of songs that were aimed at this new version of the band.
Yeah.
And then the drummer and I broke up, and just one of these crazy, ABBA type stories. But the band had a mandate and a remit to be a sort of co-ed outfit, and Steve always wanted there to be at least 1 or 2 women in the band and at least 1 or 2 other men as well. Yeah. And it made for interesting times,
Yeah.
I recently found some pictures from 1999. I haven't seen in a long time, but that song's definitely just a straight ahead rock and roll number.
Yeah.
And I like everything from punk to jazz. Classical, Rachmaninoff, Shostakovich.
Yeah. Is there anything you don't like?
I haven't made nearly enough time for opera, I don't think. There are things that I feel in the right setting I'd be more into. Lots and lots of dance music and electronica would be better in situ, and some of it is actually better not in situ when listening to it on headphones or somewhere else. So it's I don't know, I suppose I've spent a lot of the last decade being a dad, and not being out on the tiles quite as much as some people.
Yeah.
And there's amazing things happening now in electronic music. It's mad what you can do with computers nowadays. So there's more variety than ever. So I suppose that can only be good.
Yeah. Do you dabble in electronics? Or not?
Oh yes, yeah. Well, everything. I think once you record things into a computer, it becomes a digital phenomena, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And I do everything to clocks and click tracks and drum machines and everything, regardless of whether there's a real drummer. I still like. I mean, if I'm the drummer, which sometimes happens, I give myself the click track so that I have several goes at it, and I can do 3 or 4 different performances and cut between them if one's better in one place than the other. It's fun. It's fun. You can do that.
Yeah.
Or you can build a kit entirely out of artificial modules if you want, or you can just build a kit out of samples of other people, or I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of mad things people do, and I've got a way that I like to work, and I've got tools that I like to use. They're a bit unusual.
Yeah.
But,
what's unusual with them?
Well, as far as the computing end of things, my guitars, for instance, not computing. In the hardware level, all my guitars are left-handed, so that's an instant problem.
Yeah.
My guitars have always either had to be modified or built from scratch, or because most of the ones that I play on the shelves just don't appeal to me at all. So I wind up building ones for myself to use. And the computer, again, I'm not keen on Windows.
No.
I'm not keen on the Macintosh anymore either. And so I've been using Linux to do almost everything for the last 10 years. And currently there is amazing and powerful commercial software for Linux which didn't used to exist. And this is cross-platform software, which none of the other things, like some of the names you could mention, like so-called Pro Tools and things like that, that people are using to do all their albums. You can record on a Mac, but you can't go over to a PC from that. And very soon, the setup I'm using will be completely cross-platform and completely the first of its kind. So it sounds better. For instance, The system I'm using was designed by Harrison Consoles, who've been making mixing desks since the 1970s. The last Led Zeppelin album and 2 ABBA albums were mixed on Harrison Automation, which was a new science in 1979 and 80. And Windows, the operating system, didn't even exist back then. So the designers who have built this new digital system, they've all been involved in building mixing desks since the science was nuts and bolts, and they really know their stuff. You know. They're in Nashville, Tennessee.
Cool. Anyway, let's go back to that the guitar at the moment. I like that guitar. You were telling me about you've been searching for this guitar in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah. So my friend Dave Celia has a spruce top Arden Lutherie acoustic guitar, exactly like this one. This is the cedar version, and I wanted him to bring me one of these from Canada on his last tour. Well, several tours ago, a few years ago, I guess. And I couldn't. He couldn't find me one. All of these had disappeared from the shops, and they'd stopped making them. So I went on eBay and found this, and it turned up in Aberdeenshire, in a music store that stocks an inordinate number of left-handed guitars, and there it was. And yeah, it's made
decorated it well too.
Yeah, it's made of Canadian cedar and spruce and cherry wood, and I decorated it by burning it with a magnifying glass.
Really? Everything on there is burnt by a magnifying glass?
Yes.
This must have taken ages.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't able to play the thing at the time because I had a slightly injured hand, so
was there any sun over here?
Well, there was, funnily enough, and this was in May and June, I suppose.
In between the rain,
I suppose, yeah. I mean, it didn't seem like it was that dreary summer to me, but apparently it was, because we've got no apple crops in most of the country.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've got next door neighbours who've got loads of apples. If I'd known, I would have brought some up.
It's supposed to be pear country, but I don't see a lot of locally grown pears either.
No, there's not a lot of pears. I mean, the apple and pear on the symbol Worcester, isn't it? But no, not a lot of pears.
No, it's disappointingly few pears, because pears are one of my 10 favourite things in the world.
Really?
Oh, love pears.
Yeah, what would the other 9 be then? Or would we be here all night?
Oh, yeah, okay. This probably turned into 900. Food-wise? Oh, God.
Yeah, go on then.
Food's enormously important to me. I mean, I think, British strawberries.
Oh, no, it's all
British strawberries. I absolutely adore British strawberries. The other thing is, in Britain, I don't know why, but frozen peas are incredibly, incredibly good here, and the ones that I could ever get in Canada just tasted like something I've never been able to get down my neck since I was a kid. It used to be the only thing I was renowned for not eating, and I love British garden peas and the petit pois and all that. Food's terrific here now.
Yeah. So it's not good in Canada.
Oh no, it's the peas are the only problem in Canada.
Yeah,
really,
the rest is all right.
In Canada and America, more and more people have switched on to relatively healthy eating. I suppose in America, it's famous for being gigantically fat, but there is a culture of people that are a bit switched on to sort of gastro-related things.
Yeah. Well, he's ready with his guitar for another song, ladies and gentlemen. Have you got a name for that guitar? Because some people do. I
call it Merci, because it's my other guitar was called Mercy, which I named after the song Mercy, Mercy Me by the Collins Kids from 1957 or whatever. Yeah. Collins Kids were a rockabilly duo. Laurie Collins, 14, Larry Collins, about 12, I think, when they first broke out. And they were on shows like the Town Hall Party. Yeah. YouTube that if you're on YouTube. Town Hall Party, the Collins Kids. There's great footage of them playing on that. And Larry Collins was a little tiny kid, and he had his double neck guitar made for him. And he used to play both necks at once almost. He's crazy. Larry Collins.
Today? Are they still around today?
They are. They're still around today, and the Collins Kids are 69 and 72 now. Thereabouts, and Laurie Collins is still a beautiful lady, and she was one of the first pictures I ever saw of her. Pretty. Yeah, she's still fantastic. I'm going to do a song from a band I used to be in Canada called Invisible Ink that toured the UK once in 2001,
right.
and never again.
Where did you play in the UK?
Oh, we played everywhere. We played we played a few places in London, 12 Bar. We played a place in Oxford that's not there anymore, quite a big place, some American bands. Let's see, we played the Cavern Club in Liverpool, a bunch of places. Invisible Ink was a terrific pop band. This song is goes out to the weather because it's really not sunny out, and it wasn't today. So this is called Who Needs the Sun Today?